A pretty tame week inside the Big Brother house. Some harmony has been restored as Devin has been evicted. What will his daughter think? Welcome to this week's exciting edition of the B2M2 podcast. Alongside Mitchell Machtinger, I'm Michael Hoad. What's more surprising for you, Mitch? Jocasta getting a bunch of diary room time or Donnie emerging as a physical threat?
Probably Jocasta getting more screen time. But I don't know. She was crying the whole time, so I don't know if you can count that as good screen time. But Donnie's proven himself to be that physical threat we all thought that he would be.
He's a beast. All right, let's get right into it and pick things up with our two HOHs from last week. It was Nicole and Derek. So after winning the competition, Nicole admits that she didn't want to be the HOH. She wasn't on anyone's radar at the time, and she said she wanted to stay that way. I don't know if she has popped up on the radar even with the win. I still think she's lying low. What about you?
No, I agree with that. I think she's in a good spot. She's, I guess, social enough that people can see she's playing the game. But Derek even called her out on it, that they're pretty much playing a very similar game.
Yeah. So Devin he knows what's up. And to take the target off his back, we get a flashback to before the eviction of Paula, and Devin's going around telling people about the bomb squad, and what he hopes that'll do is take the target off of him and put a bunch of smaller targets on bomb squad members. So then Devin, after Derek wins, tries to tell Derek that he has to put him up, or everyone will be mad at him for not nominating Devin, but Derek is obviously too smart for that. He knows that he's going to backdoor Devin, and he's not going to give him two chances at getting himself off the block with the Battle of the Block competition and then the veto if he doesn't win that one. And even Devin's biggest bro, Caleb, is pretty resigned to the fact that Devin is going home. So with the bomb squad being exposed, Christine, who's the 8th member of that bomb squad alliance, confesses to Nicole, her real allegiance, that she was in the bomb squad because she doesn't want Nicole to find out from anyone else about it.
Yeah, I think it's a smart move. It shows Nicole that she's really committed to working with her, and it helps build that trust.
Yeah, definitely. Nicole said she felt a bit offended for not knowing earlier, but I mean, those two are fine. Nicole in the HOH room says she's scared to talk too much game with Derek, but then Derek, as you were saying earlier, says he understands Nicole's game. They're trying to play it pretty similarly. They're struggling on who they want to nominate. They know they want Devin out, but they don't really know who to put up because they obviously want to backdoor him. So we still have the H's OH, heads of household, working together. More Nicole news. Her and Hayden continued their flirting. Hayden still going hard, saying, when are we going to make this official? And Nicole is still not giving in to Hayden's makeout request.
Yeah, he tried to put in the Frank move from BB14. I don't remember which girl I was with, but he's just like, do you want to make out? And she's like, sure.
Do you think that anything's going to happen anytime soon?
Yeah,
those two?
For sure.
Okay. So Amber's name comes up for Nicole because Amber put her up. And then Caleb is extremely down to save Amber from the block. So Derek goes over to Caleb and tells him what's going to happen, and Caleb volunteers to go up. And he's going to throw it. So much for Caleb at the beginning of the season saying that he's never going to throw anything. That's out the window.
Yeah, but we just saw last week when you try and throw a competition, or even when it's in the discussion, it can come back to bite you. So I don't know if you're paying attention, but you never want to put yourself voluntarily on the block.
No, definitely not. And Amber doesn't want Caleb to do it. She doesn't really want to be indebted to him. She's already dealing with enough.
See, it's weird. With Amber, I don't know. There's two ways she can read the situation. First is like, okay, like get this guy like out of here. If he wants to go up on the block and save me, then sure. But the second time, I feel like as long as he's in the house, she's not going to be a target because they know that everybody else knows that he will protect her at all costs, even if it seems to be a very one-way relationship kind of thing.
I know. I don't know when he's going to give it up, but so Nicole decides to go confront the wise oracle, being Donnie. She needs to know who to put up. So she wants to build this further trust with Donnie moving forward, and Donnie then hints at putting up Christine, which Nicole is not down for. Then it gets back to Nicole that Donnie was telling Brittany about Caleb's plan to throw the competition. Amber overhears that and then brings it to Nicole's attention. Nicole is not a fan of what Donnie's been doing, and she now wants to target Donnie.
Yeah, Johnny showed that he's been playing, a better game than they've been showing. He clearly knows this. He's not as naive, I guess, as they're portraying him to be.
No, definitely not. I mean, we completely underestimated him as well. So Nicole draws the egg to nominate first, and Derek nominates second. Nicole puts up Amber, and then she does end up putting up Donnie. And then Derek puts up Caleb and Jocasta. Devin now realizes that he's being backdoored, but then goes over to Derek and says, "Yo, bro, totally understand that. Good move." So Devin is onto the plan. Victoria finally got a little bit of action this week, very minimal. She brings up Frankie's siblings. They're having a conversation in the kitchen, and she asks him about his family. And Frankie actually, I thought, handled it very well. He wasn't really giving up much information. He was just saying like they have the same facial features and stuff, and then sort of diverts the conversation away from his sister. But Victoria is not giving up wanting to know about his sister. She keeps pestering him. And then finally he reveals that her name is Ari. Doesn't say Ariana. So
I would have just said Anna or like Anna or something. But
yeah,
they keep teasing the Ariana Grande thing, and if it hasn't been revealed by now, I don't see, unless he ends up winning HOH, how they're going to end up, I guess, revealing or someone suddenly realizing it. But it's funny. I mean, between Donnie and like Frankie and all these guys, everyone has all these alter egos and like all these past life secrets that they're trying to hide. So it's pretty funny to see that.
Team America got its first mission confirmed. This actually surprised me. The task that was voted by America was to spread the rumor that someone is related to a previous house guest. I thought for sure it was going to be the spread the showmance rumor. So Frankie's idea for this is to tell everyone that Zach is Amanda from last season's cousin.
I would have liked to see the whole thought process behind like deciding who would be related to who, but it's funny how Frankie brought up Zach's name, knowing that could potentially damage his game.
That's true.
I think we saw this week that it seems almost Cody and Zach are a lot closer now than Zach and Frankie are.
Sweet life of Zach and Cody. But I mean, the rumor sort of works out because they're both pretty smart. They're both loud and outspoken, both dark hair. They're both from South Florida.
Yeah, all the facts lined up, so it was a good pairing to choose.
So how this comes about coming to fruition is Donnie first tells Nicole that Zach is Amanda's cousin. Then Nicole asks Christine what she thinks. Derek tells Caleb about it, hoping that he'd pass it on to Amber, and Amber apparently can't keep her mouth shut about these types of things. And then Derek and Donnie tell Zach, hoping Zach will run downstairs and deny it in front of everyone, and that'll make people believe it more. But then this actually really surprised me. Zach lies and sort of says that he doesn't deny that he's related to her. He says at the end he wants to make everyone in the house believe that they're related. I don't really know why he's doing that, but I thought maybe it's because if he denies it, people are going to think he's lying, and that'll just end up causing more drama.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't heard anything like during pre-bios and stuff about them actually being related. I feel like they definitely would have mentioned it. But in that case, I mean, again, the pairing still works, and it doesn't seem to have ruffled any feathers. So we'll see.
So the first mission for Team America is a successful one, $5,000 in the pocket. So we move on to the Battle of the Block. It's a competition called Abracababra, and it's a puzzle contest. One person's running and getting the pieces, while the other person's suspended in the air building the puzzle. And Nicole had the line of the week for me. When Caleb was in his costume, she says, "Caleb looks like Harry Potter on steroids." And I thought he absolutely did, and I laughed about that. Donnie continues to surprise and makes it known that he loves puzzles. He brags about his Sudoku abilities, but he's paired with Amber, who hates puzzles, apparently. So Caleb, as we know, is going to throw this contest, and I thought he did an incredible job at it. I mean, it didn't appear that he was throwing it, but he did. How did you think his performance went?
No, I agree. I mean, so far with people throwing competitions, besides Paula, it's been pretty unclear if they're actually throwing it or not, to the naked eye, I guess. So, I mean, yeah, he got what he wanted done in the end and lost the competition, so he stays on the block.
So that means that Derek is the legitimate HOH for the week, and then the episode ended with Nicole vanishing from the backyard, and everyone was losing their mind over where she went.
I really wanted to see how that actually played out, though, in the house. It's like, oh, pretend Nicole just disappeared in the thin air and get some reaction shots while she just runs out of the backyard.
So then Nicole reappears inside the house wearing the frog suit. Absolutely hilarious. She has to wear it for a week. Jocasta, as we said off the top, finally got some screen time, but unfortunately it's because that she's sick. I felt really bad for her, actually. I mean, she seems like a very nice lady, so didn't like to see her sick like that. Amber makes it known that she's not impressed with being in debt to Caleb, and Amber still won't agree to a date with him. Caleb asked her if she'd be his date to the finale, and she just flat out said no. I don't know how Caleb is still pursuing this. I mean,
yeah, he used to take no for an answer, but like,
I know. Then Cody gets in on this Amber Caleb drama. He starts massaging Amber in the living room. Oh my gosh. Amber's saying that they're just friends, but she confesses to Cody that she doesn't see Caleb as anything as more than a friend. Caleb, as we see with the camera shot, was apparently sleeping, but we could tell that he was just watching the massage
sleep
the
with
whole
one eye
way.
open.
Yeah, pretty creepy in the background.
I'm curious to see what happens between Cody and Amber if Caleb gets kicked out, which it might look like within the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that develops into anything.
So Caleb confronts Cody about it. He does it in a really manly way. It's over a nice bottle of beer and a game of chess. But Cody assures him that nothing's going on between them. But Cody thinks that because of Caleb's massive ego that he would nominate him just out of spite. So Cody thinks that he's popped up on Caleb's radar. Then Cody goes into the HOH room and tells Derek that if the Devin somehow wins the veto, they should get Caleb out this week. And Derek agrees. I don't know if Derek was just doing that to appease Cody, but I think those two are pretty tight, so that could have been legit.
It's a smart move. I mean, if nominations ended up staying the same and you have this big fish on the block who put himself up there, then it's worth taking a shot at him, especially if you feel threatened by him the way Cody does.
So the other nominee was Jocasta, but she's too sick to compete in the veto. She had to stay in her bed. Christine, Donnie, and then Devin are the ones chosen for the veto. I can't believe that Devin was picked. I don't know if maybe that was rigged. Don't want to say it, but
well, I mean, especially once you started seeing him perform in the competition, I got really nervous that it looked like he could win the whole thing. And again, I felt bad that Jocasta couldn't compete, but this competition didn't look like something she'd be even able to roll the dice, literally. So I don't know how well she would have done in the veto comp. And I don't know how much of a difference it would have made unless she actually won the competition, because Devin still would have gone up on the block.
You're right. So with Donnie being picked for the veto, Derek decides to bring him in on the plan of the back door. Donnie actually doesn't really just roll over and accept this. He says that he's been out of the loop, and he doesn't want to reveal his game to Derek. Good for Donnie.
Yeah, I like that.
Impressed me. So before the veto competition, we got the next Team America task. The options are to get a floater on the block or get someone they believe is a physical threat on the block. What do you think is going to happen there?
Well, they ended up revealing it at the end of last night's episode, but it was the one I wanted, the one I expected, the physical threat one. Floaters, again, with floaters, you feel like you can get them out at any time, but being a physical threat, I can see them targeting Caleb. Originally, I was thinking after the veto competition that they target Donnie, but then I realized he was in Team America.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they would consider him a physical threat.
But yeah, that's the thing that I'm wondering. Can they just sort of go by their own discretion and say, oh, I think Victoria is a physical threat. Can we get her out? Or, like, what really defines the physical threat here?
That's true. And even
It's
if they
very
targeted one of their own, there's still two of them to be able to pull off these missions and still get some money.
But isn't it get them on the block? So could they, with Donnie being this physical threat, could they technically put Donnie up?
I mean, I don't know what defines a successful mission for this one because it's all subjective.
Yeah.
Even though it's pretty obvious, I'm pretty sure it's set up just to get Caleb on the block because out of everybody, based on alliances and the situation in the house, I feel like he's the physical threat that they're talking about.
So we come to the veto competition, and it's casino theme. You have to get into this cage that's shaped in the form of a dice, and you have to maneuver your cage to show the number that the host, who is Cody, told them to. I was a fan of this challenge. How about you?
Yeah, I liked it. Again, I felt bad for Jocasta. She couldn't compete. Those dice look pretty heavy, but it seems like a fun competition. The more Devin got to go, there's obviously a learning curve, so he was able to get better and better at it. But in the end, obviously he doesn't win. Donnie barely beats him, but he does.
Yeah, Donnie took him down.
Yeah, the house
Double D's.
house went nuts. The crowd was going crazy. Donnie, the challenge beast that he is.
He's just stepping up as a huge competition beast. And then in Donnie's words, #old man beatdown. Unreal. So with Devin losing the competition, of course he feels like he's let his daughter down. Poor guy. Feel bad for him there. All he wanted to do was win for his daughter. Donnie ends up using the veto on a sick Jocasta, and Jocasta just breaks down into tears because she's so impressed with receiving something instead of giving something like she's used to doing.
But then she kept going on and on about it. Like you saw in her diary room, she was crying, and then at like some other time they showed her, she was still crying. And that bothered me. I'm like, get over it. Like, you got off the block. You cried once. Cool. But yeah, that bothered me a bit.
So with Jocasta off the block, the plan to backdoor Devin is happening. Derek puts him up as the replacement nominee, and it appears that Devin's game will be over. Before the eviction, and so I guess in last night's episode, we have more Caleb and Amber. They're in the have-not room, and Caleb gives up 2 of his blankets for Amber. He's still convinced he'll get a date with her. Tells this to Hayden, and Hayden's just like, wow, are you kidding me? So Cody is trying to go around and feeling out the house on their attitudes towards Caleb. I like that Cody's finally seems to be playing the game, but I don't think it was a good call right then to make it known that he wants Caleb out. I mean, everyone wanted Devin. I think he should have just stuck with that and not rustled any feathers. I don't think it got back to Caleb, but still, I think it was risky.
Yeah, but I think Caleb's the next guy out for sure. Devin, once Devin's gone, who was everyone's main target, I think the target will be turned onto Caleb.
But what if he wins HOH and then he knows that Cody's gunning for him?
Then we'll have to see. But it seems the bomb squad as we know it is no more.
Diffused. So more Hayden and Nicole, and they're snuggling up together. I think a kiss was about to happen there, and then Victoria just busts in and completely ruins the mood.
It's like she had no idea what was going on.
Unreal. Great contribution to the week, Victoria. Also, more Victoria news. She went outside and by the pool. She walks out, and a bunch of the guys are sort of going, "Oh man, who's this hot girl?" or whatever. And then, "Yo, what's your name? What's your name?" as a joke. But then we see Hayden in the diary room go, "Wait, actually, what is your name?"
That was pretty funny.
One of my favorite parts of the week. Cody and Devin start bonding because Devin really starts confiding in Cody. He says that he plans on going back to school after he's voted out to better provide for his daughter, continuing to show what a great father he is. And then we also find out that Devin was in rehab. So, I mean, pouring his heart out to Cody like this, I was starting to get doubts that maybe Devin was staying.
Yeah, same. Well, they teased it throughout the whole episode that Devin would be staying over Caleb. But it seemed that the whole house had flipped to get Caleb out instead of Devin. But then they never showed what made everybody turn back to go to Devin. So that pissed me off because I wanted to see what made that switch. I mean, they always sort of tease. They show clips of like them discussing to get the other person out just to build up that drama. But in this case, this was like a big decision, and they never showed what made everybody flip back to get Devin out.
Yeah, because, I mean, we had Zach saying that he had a dream Caleb was gone. And then Zach was telling Frankie they don't need Caleb and they can deal with Devin next week. Frankie tells Derek that there's the stirrings of potentially getting Caleb out. And then Derek realizes that if Devin is still in the house, that he'll always be a bigger target than him. So he would be okay with keeping him around. But that didn't happen, and we didn't see how it flipped back. We had a sort of an awkward interview with Jeff Schroeder and Donnie's parents. I didn't like that part. What did you think?
The whole thing went on for too long. I didn't care a lot for it. I don't mind when they do those family tie segments, I guess, but it went on for too long, and the only thing I found funny was how even though Donnie's on the show, they still don't watch Big Brother.
So Devin ends up being evicted unanimously. That sucks for my point values. Another unanimous eviction. That really hurts. Julie announces to the house guests that there will be no have-nots for the coming week. But then she later reveals that the next have-nots will be based on those activity bracelets that they're all wearing, and whoever has the lowest activity level will be up on in the have-not room. So with Devin gone, we start the next HOH competition, and we finally got one that carries over to next week. It's called Deviled Eggs. You have to maneuver the eggs through a fence and slot them into a stack, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it was tough to tell how exactly it was set up with those two, I guess, obstacles in the middle, because at first I thought they had to like roll them down there somehow, but then we saw a wider shot where they just have to stack them at the other end.
I thought for sure it was something to do with the sloped devil sticks or whatever those things are called. Okay, so that's the rundown of the week. Who were your surprises from the week, Mitch?
Cody. I liked how he saw the chance to pounce on Caleb, and I think that sort of turned into his main mission. I think if he ever gets into power, Caleb's going to be his main target. And my other surprise was Donnie. At first I was like, okay, this guy's having a nice little run, and he'll be out soon, but he's actually done really well in competitions. I think he's won the most out of anybody. And my last one was Nicole in her frog suit. It was probably the highlight of the week for me.
Okay, my surprises. Again, I have Donnie. Just his all-out awesomeness in these challenges. As I think he is leading the point total. We'll find out in a minute. And then my other surprise was Zach embracing the rumor that he's related to Amanda. Again, that could just be because he didn't really want to stir up any more drama than needed to be done. Disappointments, who do you have?
I had Caleb just because of the whole Amber situation. It was getting really desperate, and it was tough to watch. And my other disappointment, like I mentioned earlier, was the editing on the Caleb-Devin vote. I would have really liked to see, again, what made everybody flip-flop between the two. And that was pretty much my number one disappointment.
My disappointments continue to be Victoria. I don't think she got diary room time this whole week. She might have. I might have just missed it. She had some funny moments with walking in on Hayden and Nicole, and then with Hayden asking what her name was. And then my second disappointment is just overall the Battle of the Block competition, how it's been going down. There hasn't really been genuine competition in the past 2 weeks, and hopefully that changes and it doesn't just turn into a useless challenge where someone's always sort of throwing it. I don't think it will, but just so far how it's been going, I haven't been a fan. Okay, so it's time for the point recap. I'm pretty scared. Devin evicted unanimously. I don't think this is going to look good for me.
Okay, so after this week, I'm up 33-27. Devin's unanimous eviction really helped me out for a -11 yesterday, and then during being nominated as another -3. So that was a big help. Again, I'm really struggling to get any points. For the have-not competition, we've seen only one sort of volunteer session, I guess, on TV, even though they've been doing it for every week. There's been have-nots. Like we saw this week, Amber and Caleb were sleeping in the have-not room, and we always saw Devin walk back during breaks in the house into the have-not room. So they were all clearly have-nots, but it was never like officially announced on TV, except Julie this week asked Hayden what it felt like to no longer be a have-not. So he got a -1 for that because we're only going to score things that actually happen on screen.
Fair enough. And is Donnie the front runner right now?
Donnie is the front runner. He has 16 points, which is the most for anybody in the whole house. Even he has more than Derek and Frankie, and obviously Devin now ended up leaving with a +3.
Wow. 15th pick in the draft, coming up huge so far.
Second round sleeper.
Big time. Okay, prediction time. HOH, who you got?
First off, I like the partner format. It was good to see sort of a random pairing being forced to work together. My first thought was, imagine if Caleb and Amber got partnered up. So I think between this one, I don't know who's going to win. We didn't really see anybody get a lot of progress. I think the favorites are Amber and Zach, Donnie and Hayden, and Cody and Frankie. Maybe Caleb and Nicole too. I think if Zach and Amber win, they might target Caleb. I don't know how Amber would feel about that, but depends if Zach ends up being the one HOH. Or if Cody and Frankie win again, I can see them trying to target Caleb. I don't know if they would end up backdooring him like they did with Devin, or just put him out flat outright. Again, Cody and Zach seem to be getting closer than Zach and Frankie were. But my one question is when everyone's trying to figure out that fourth extra person to nominate, why don't they put up Victoria all this time?
That's exactly what I've been wondering.
They've just been forgetting about her, just like everybody else has. I only remember her when I see her in the intros.
Is her picture on the memory wall? Like, jeez.
But I could see Donnie going up again. I think Christine's actually been playing a great game because obviously her social game is strong, and I feel like she would have been put up on the block already if that wasn't the case.
All right, my HOH pick. It's a bit of a sleeper pick here, but there's logic to it. I think it's going to be Jocasta and Brittany. They're not really physical targets, but this competition sort of requires dexterity, and these two have like small fingers and they can maneuver that egg through the fence pretty easily. So that's my pick for HOH. I don't think they had gotten an egg yet as we left them in the comp, but I think they'll pull it out. Nominations obviously totally depend on who wins HOH. If my prediction is right, being Jocasta and Brittany, I don't know. I think Caleb would be the target, but I'm not so sure they'd put him on the block. I think they'd do a similar thing that they did with Devin. So I'll just throw out Zach, Amber, Victoria, because I don't think anyone would miss her, and then Christine. Who do you think is going to be evicted this week?
Caleb in the end. Unless he wins the veto, obviously, then somehow between backdoors and nominations, I think Caleb will be out. We haven't really seen anybody else sort of emerge as a threat, unless somehow Caleb and Amber end up on the block together, and then they'll try and vote out Amber. Maybe Donnie will become a target, But I think the whole Team America thing is actually going to carry him pretty far because with the physical threat task they have to do, again, my prediction for that is to get Caleb.
Yeah.
Actually, that would mean Caleb has to be nominated for eviction in order for them to be successfully rewarded for that task.
Could it be, though, after the veto you get put on the block? Would that be clean? I don't know.
I don't know exactly how the timing would work out,
Yeah.
but it seems Caleb could be the only physical threat unless they convince Cody or Zach or Frankie even to go up on the block. But again, Donnie and Frankie, while they might be physical threats, are also part of Team America.
Yeah, I also think that Caleb's going to be evicted. I think he'll be backdoored.
And yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, just the activity tracker. I checked online quick during the eviction. So my prediction for that, based on like the week's activities, the bottom four, if I read it correctly, were Nicole, Victoria, Caleb, and Donnie.
Wow.
So we'll see if those actually end up being the have-nots.
Caleb's spending too much time just sitting around watching Amber. Clearly. I've got a bold but not that bold of a prediction. I think this is the week that Hayden and Nicole kiss.
That's fair. I agree with that. They've been teasing it for a long time.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. That frog suit is too attractive. Any last thoughts?
That's it. I mean, I'm really curious to see who ends up being HOH. Obviously, it's going to affect the nominations and sort of the direction the House goes. But I think with Caleb being the number one target, after that, it's sort of hard to read where the House goes from here. So we have to see about that. Usually you can sort of tell the next couple, like the top 3 targets, and like within the next weeks they'll be voted out. But we don't know after Caleb really where the House stands.
I know. All right, well, that'll do it for us. Thanks for joining us on this week's B2M2 podcast. He's Mitchell Machtinger. I'm Michael Hoad. Enjoy the week, and we'll talk to you next Friday.